Hey everybody, Riley here from Middle School Career Readiness. In today's video, we have Wes, the founder and president of Shear with us. So I'll let him introduce himself and talk more about that.
Cool. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, so my name is Wes, and like you said, I am the founder and president, the owner and operator here at Shear.
So, how did you get into the field of emergency medicine?
Yeah, so when I was about 18 years old, I was on a um, mission trip to Haiti, and I recognized there was some opportunity there to do some like medical clinics. My older brother had been an EMT, and so I was aware kind of what that involved. And so I thought, well, it'd be cool to get my EMT license just in order to kind of help out in the community and maybe have some opportunities to do some medical stuff, overseas. And so I got started with a local volunteer ambulance company. They sent me to EMT school, and that was my first job and kind of my introduction.
Okay. And could you walk us through or talk about some of the jobs that you have
Yep.
held in emergency medicine?
Yep. So originally I started again on a rural, very small volunteer ambulance company. We were a basic level um, ambulance. We served a township here in Southwest Michigan. I had that job for about 5 years. And during that time, I was in school pretty much the whole time. So I was an EMT basic. I really loved my classmates and my instructor. They offered an EMT specialist class, which I think was the I-85, was like the older EMT specialist version in Michigan at that time. I went through that, or an EMT intermediate, however it's called,
Hmm.
and then went straight in, same instructor, same classmates, straight into paramedic school, or some of the same classmates. Um, didn't really set out to work in emergency medicine. Like that wasn't my goal. My goal was to have it kind of as a side thing, but I just really loved it and was having a lot of fun learning. And so one thing led to another. And then once I finished that, I did get a job with a local ALS ambulance, was working as a paramedic part-time, still going to school, still doing some odd jobs, working for my brothers, kind of doing some construction and different stuff on the side. But was working as a paramedic then once I finished paramedic school and immediately went into RN because of an opportunity again at the community college I was going to. They had a paramedic to RN program that they were introducing. And so I got to be in the first class of that. It allowed you to get your associates as an RN in as short as 18 months. And they were really trying to recruit people. So I jumped into that. Um, over the next 18 months. So the first 6 months were kind of all the introductory RN classes. And then after that, you were lumped in with the second year nursing students where we did kind of the med surge, ICU rotations, pediatrics, all that different stuff. Finished that up back in 2009 and passed my NCLEX RN exam first time, and then wanted to work in emergency or ICU because I had my paramedic license. I was enjoying kind of that acute care. Didn't really want to work in some of the other, surgical floors or things like that. I wanted to go right into something that was kind of critical care, and ended up getting a job in Texas because that was the best opportunity I could find. Went down there, worked for 2 years in Texas, came back home to Michigan, got a job in a level one trauma center, worked there for 2 years, got a job on a flight service and flew with a helicopter service as a flight RN for the last 5 years that I worked in health in bedside care. Resigned that to go full time with Shear back in 2021. So I'm not currently working bedside anymore. I've been running this business full time now for the last 3 years.
Okay. And can you talk to us about what what it is or what it takes to be a certified flight registered nurse?
Yeah, so flight is unique. The CFRN certification is
Hmm.
basically a board certification that is designed to prove you have expertise sort of in the areas that specifically relate to flight. So it's a lot of critical care, a lot of patient conditions related to advanced cardiac conditions, advanced medical conditions, pediatric specialty considerations, neonatal considerations, and then some physics of flight, things that are related to when you take a patient up and change the altitude or you change the pressures of your oxygen, different things like that, that is specific to transporting a patient through that type of an environment. So it's like 150 some question, fairly advanced exam. Most people taking it study pretty hard. It's definitely harder than my initial paramedic exam or my initial nursing exam. There's a lot of pretty detailed content there, and that's something that it's administrated by something called the Board Certification of Emergency Nursing. They have a number of different exams that are related to critical care and emergency nursing.
Okay. And can you talk to us about your Bachelor's of Science in Nursing?
Yeah, so that I got when I was after I was working. So I started with an associate's degree as a paramedic, and then I got an associate's degree as a nurse. Got my jobs after I'd moved back to Michigan. I was working at the Level One Trauma Center. A lot of nursing facilities now want you to get that bachelor's degree. They're trying to promote, going on to get more advanced degrees. And so that was something I did online through a school called Western Governors University. It's completely online, kind of self-driven program. Had some tuition reimbursement from my job, so they helped cover it. And basically, the BSN tries to give you more kind of administrative leadership, some statistics, basically prepare you to be maybe a team leader or a manager or some of that higher level um, administrative type knowledge. And so I think it's something that certainly can have some benefits, and I'm glad I did it.
Okay. So what led you to, well, sorry, skip the question. What is Shear and what is their mission?
Yeah, so our mission is to build better tools for healthcare providers, innovative, simple tools for healthcare providers. Um, the brand really started as a product, which is our original trauma shears. And that was, I'll just go ahead and go into the next question, which what led me to start X Shear. And that was basically, I couldn't find a trauma shear that did the job I wanted it to do. I
Mm-hmm.
had some resources available to me through the people around me, one being my father-in-law, Vince, who is a very talented product designer. And I was using an assortment of trauma shears as a emergency room nurse and wasn't really happy with any of them. So they were either too cheap and didn't perform at the level I wanted to, or they were too
Mm-hmm.
expensive and complex. I wanted something that was really simple, but really, really effective as a scissors. So that's what led to come to my father-in-law with kind of the ideas, the different characteristics I wanted it to have. And then he took it to the drawing board, came up with some of the unique design aesthetics, such as a curved blade that has proved to be really beneficial in getting underneath tight clothing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Okay. And so where was I here? So as you mentioned, you worked with your father-in-law, a
yeah,
designer. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
yeah. So um, Vince is his name. He is was a senior designer for a number of companies. He's worked with medical products. He's worked with food service products. He's worked with
Mm-hmm.
um, kitchen appliances, a lot of different things. And so he brought a ton of expertise to the table that I recognize a lot of emerging brands or people with ideas for new product wouldn't have access to. So in that regard, I was very fortunate. He was willing to work with me on kind of a commission basis, so it didn't cost a lot of money up front. We kind of, if we were successful, as we've been successful, it's paid us off. Um, and so what we did, and Um, yeah, basically we, like I said, went to the drawing board, came up with what we wanted it to have, and he sketched some things out. We modeled some things in different mediums. Started out cutting them out of cardboard, and then you go to working with a local company to cut it out of a easy metal like aluminum that's real easy to cut with a water jet or a laser. And you kind of play with that, see if you like the feel for it, 3D print the handles, things like that. But that was all stuff he had experience with and resources. So that really helped us bring this product to life.
Okay. And we all know your original product, the X-Shear.
Yep.
Can you talk to us about your two newest products?
Probably the two newest products are the X-Shear Mini, and
Mm-hmm.
we have a micro holster, and we also have a pump case for critical care IV pumps. I'm not sure which you want me to go through. I'll start with the pump case because that was another situation where it's kind of off-brand. It's not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
super interesting to most people. However, it was a product I needed. I was working as a flight nurse. They switched us fairly abruptly to a new IV infusion pump, and these are the therapy pumps that very precisely deliver medications in critical care
Mm-hmm.
patients intravenously. And so they're pretty sensitive medical equipment. They cost, multiple thousands of dollars for this device, and we didn't have any way to reliably secure it to our patients as we're moving them from the hospital to the helicopter to the ambulance back to the hospital, all the different steps we take. And so that's a product again. Vince and I just looked at it, designed this molded rubber case for it with a strap and a lanyard, and brought that to market. And it's been pretty well received by the critical care transport community. More recently, we came up with a product called the Micro Holster. This is designed to be a real slim, minimalist holster for our original X Shears. That was actually an idea from a firefighter out in West Virginia named Nathan, and he brought that to me as a real basic 3D printed design that was very functional, um, that he'd been printing for himself and for friends. And then Vince took it to the kind of to his software, added the branding, refined the design a little bit overall, made sure that it still functioned the way we wanted it to, made sure that it could be injection molded because there's a lot of characteristics in manufacturing that you have to consider from a design aspect. When you 3D
Mm-hmm.
print something, it's just very different. We can go into that more if you're interested. Um, but basically, brought that to the market back in April. Again, really well received, kind of serves a need. It'll mount on a radio strap, which a lot of emergency responders like their Shear mounted on the radio strap. So that was a big hit. And then
Mm-hmm.
lastly, we just launched the X Shear Mini. So this is designed to be a smaller trauma shear for less demanding applications. We have a lot of users. We have a lot of users that are running their trauma shears in small IFACs, so a small first aid kit. They're not using it every day. They're not cutting people out of motorcycle leathers or things like the original X shears are made for, but yet they still want a really sharp, tough shear when they need it. And then you also have a lot of folks that are working maybe in the hospital. They're doing wound changes. They're working ICU, surgical, all these other areas where they don't necessarily need the rigors of our original X shear, but they want something that'll just work really well and still hold up. So that was very well received. We launched that on Black Friday. And people seem to really love it. We're getting a ton of 5-star reviews coming in now, so that's really rewarding to see people that's enjoying that product, finding it useful.
Okay. And can you walk us through, the process of
Hmm.
making a new product or
Yeah,
coming out with a new product?
it can be pretty complicated. Um, so if you take a product like the micro holster, Nathan came to us with an idea and a 3D printed version of the product that was very functional. But then you have to take that idea to a mass production scale, and that involves you design it in CAD, and then we have a 3D printer. We have a resin-based, fairly high resolution, just a small one, but it's fairly high quality 3D printer. And so Vince will design it, 3D print it, test it, send it to Nathan, send it to myself. We'll all test it, go back, make a reiteration, do that again. And we've done that probably 30 to 50 times with many of our products. So we will have this scale of versions of all the different, microscopic changes we've made to try to get it to feel right and to function the way we want it to. And then you have to translate that to the manufacturing process, which in this case is injection molded plastic. And to do that with injection molded plastic, you need a tool that's formed out of heavy steel that closes, and all the pieces are there. They squirt the plastic in under really high pressure and heat, cool it, the mold opens up, and the part falls out, or the part's removed. For a part like the micro holster, here's an example in clear, just because we did it in clear so we can see all the parts. Um, it has these cavities on the inside. It has these cavities on the front. So you have a tool that opens up front to back, but also has parts here that have to slide out. And so you end up with a very complex steel tool. And all of that takes refinement. All of that you have to work with the mold making company and the injection molding company, and they have specialists that can digitally show how the plastic is going to flow so that you don't get problems with how the surfaces look and all of that. So that process is also very time intensive and expensive. These tools can range from $15,000 to $50,000, to get a tool going and get started up on
Mm-hmm.
a new product. So it takes a lot of resources and a lot of time and energy. And it's something that we just don't think about as we see, hundreds of new products coming out all the time. But it's been really interesting. I didn't come from that background. It's been really fun learning about it. Usually fun. Sometimes it's expensive and there's hiccups along the way that we wish we could avoid, but it's been a lot of fun.
Okay. And we know that there's you and Vince. Who
Yeah.
else is on your staff at Xshear?
So we don't really have a lot of employees. I use a number of other kind of agencies and resources, and some of them are family, and some of them are people, other agencies that I hire. I have a full time, well, not a full time. Um, I have a dedicated marketing team, which is my brother-in-law, Seth, who runs our Instagram. And you may have seen him if you follow our Instagram very close. He pops in the
Mm-hmm.
videos and stuff sometimes. And so he's a firefighter, uh, an avid adventure kind of, motorcyclist, off-roader, all that kind of stuff. So he uses the product, he loves the product, and he really understands, who we're selling it to and what we're doing with X Shear. And so he
Yeah.
creates all of our video, edits all of our video content, and runs Instagram for us. We have another gentleman by the name of Merle. He is a graphic designer and a kind of a brand specialist, and he runs our email campaigns. And he's on retainer, but he has his whole own business with lots of clients. But we keep him on retainer. He runs our emails, writes emails for us, designs those, and then all of our graphic design, social media ads, Amazon page content, all the graphic design that we have to. So we have him. And then I have a couple people that do assembly for me. So all the holsters require assembly and boxing. Those are all made in the USA. And so we put them together, put all the rivets in, all the screws. So I have a couple people that just do that part time. As those come in, they'll assemble those boxes for us or sew up the soft holsters and ship them out for us. And then I have my dad actually handles our distribution for the website. So anything you buy on xyear.com, he takes care of shipping that for us.
Okay. And what can we expect from Xshear in the future?
Yeah, it's a good question. We're going to try to keep innovating. Going back to our mission, we want to make sure that we're solving problems. We don't want to just create problems that nobody has to sell
Mm-hmm.
product. We want to make sure we're innovating, we're keeping things simple, we're solving problems. Realistically, what that means, we're going to try to get a holster for the Mini. People are asking for that. We're looking at options to maybe try to get a shear made in the USA. That can be challenging, but we recognize that's valuable. And then just finding out other ways to innovate, opportunities for people, make sure that we're supporting our customers and taking good care of them. We have a lot of really loyal customers, so we try to take really good care of people that buy our product if they have issues down the road, and then keep innovating as we try to bring new things to the table.
Okay. Uh, Wes, thank you for coming out and doing this interview. That's all the questions I have for today. I know that was kind of short,
That's,
but thank you for coming out, and I appreciate you taking your time out to answer these questions.
yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on and for doing what you're doing. Doing great things. So carry on.
Hmm. All right,
Best wishes
thank
to you.
you.
You bet. Bye bye.
All right, everybody, this is going to be the end of our video. Thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and make sure to leave a comment down below if you have any questions for Wes, any recommendations for future videos, anything like that. Also, I will leave a link to our merch in the description, and you can also go to the channel bio for any information that you need. The Shear link will also be in the description. And with that, have a great day and stay safe.